Thank you for tuning in to another episode of my Veterans to Success podcast. You probably know by now, my mission is to help 1 million veterans and entrepreneur business owners achieve the dreams, goals, and aspirations they deserve. That is why I created the Veterans to Success podcast, because I get to interview guys, men and women, who want to share their fascinating stories with you about their time before, during and after their time in the military, so you can benefit and overcome your challenges. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be mesmerized, astounded, and entertained. Hello and welcome to another episode of Veterans to Success. This is the podcast where I get to speak to seemingly ordinary people with extraordinary stories. And today I've got Guy Di Salvo, actually, sorry. And that in itself is gives away a little bit of a secret, which we're going to come on to later in the podcast. Right, so hi Guy, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, hi Joe. Yeah, pleasure. Pleasure's all mine.
Thank you. And you know, as I've explained in our pre-podcast brief, I suppose, when we had a great chat and I found out more about you and you found out a bit about me. There's no big fanfare for the common man or woman during the podcast. What we do is a steady reveal. So as we're going along in the podcast, I ask the questions, you give the answers, and we have a bit of a laugh and what have you. So let's go back to your time way before. I mean, we're not going to go back to your birth, although you can if you want to. But I mean, I don't suppose you remember that much, will you? So let's have a look at what you were doing as a young lad then. What was going on in your life?
Yeah, just a pretty normal childhood, really. Active, always out on the bike or playing football in the winter and playing cricket in the summer. There's a big green net right next to our house, so we'd have 12-hour football matches. You know, that's what you did in the 70s.
Yeah, I remember those days. Yeah, you just played until you couldn't see anymore, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And then, oh, we better go home now. Yeah. In fact, I remember one night I enjoyed it so much. My mum and dad had the police out for me. Thought I'd be.
Oh, blimey! Yeah.
I got a good talking to when I got in. Actually,
Yeah, I bet.
Won't go into that now. It wasn't great though, because yeah, I had an interesting conversation with my dad. Anyway. Right, so you were playing football and cricket, and so you know you have what you call a pretty normal upbringing. School was okay.
Yeah, I thought school was a bit of a waste of time, to be honest. I found, yeah, just I probably went to school at the wrong time.
Well, like when you were a kid.
Yeah. I mean, I was all in the top groups for maths, English, and all that, but you wouldn't have thought that with my results. I just didn't have any results.
All right, okay. So, yeah, that's interesting because we say now, and I never understood it when I was younger, but I understand it now. Youth is wasted on the young.
Yeah, God, yeah.
Yeah. And so at that time, even though you were doing all right at school, you thought it was a waste of time. Because I suppose you had other things to do, more interesting things like play soccer, cricket, or football, right? Don't call it soccer, the Americans call it soccer. Football, cricket, and of course, girls.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I see the twinkle in your eyes there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it that possessed you to join the military then?
Well, when I left school with no results, I did go down to the careers office. Yeah, about 16 it must have been. Thinking about joining the junior leaders. And I even considered the junior because they had the junior parachute.
Yeah, that's right.
I considered that. But to be honest, the colour sergeant or staff sergeant at the desk, he kind of talked me out of it. He said, I don't think you're either ready for it or it's not right for you at this moment. So I went off and attempted to be an apprentice electrician.
And junior leaders, that would have been at Dover, wouldn't it? That's where they were based back then. I
Right.
remember the junior leaders.
Yeah.
So good. So you went away apprentice electrician, and how many houses did you blow
I probably nearly blew myself up a few times. Yeah.
up?
It was for a big firm in Leicester. They no longer exist due to they
Has
had
that
a
got anything to do with you, by the way?
no, not guilty. No, Leicester City Football Club actually owed them lots of money, and they went bust because Leicester City couldn't pay them.
Oh, up in
So
it.
yeah, yeah. So a year for an apprentice electrician, and realised that I was either going to kill myself or somebody else, and
Yeah,
I wasn't interested in it.
yeah.
Um, and then a friend of mine who I was in the St John Ambulance with as a teenager, he went to join the Navy, and I said, what are you doing? He said, oh, I'm thinking about being a medic. Oh, right, okay, well, I'll come down with you. And we ended up joining together.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so it was a bit of an act by accident, really.
So that's interesting because then you've got each other's backs, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So, bit of a change from the army to the navy. I can understand why, though. Influenced by your mate.
yeah.
So what happened then? Like, because
Um,
the entrance and training's a bit different than the army. Tell me a bit more about that and how you got on.
yeah, so we did the usual written tests, medicals, and etc. And then eventually we got a date and we both went down to HMS Raleigh to start basic training, which is, I think it was either 6 or 8 weeks, which, I mean, at the time seemed really hard, but I think if you compare it to the army basic training, it's a lot easier and a
Yeah,
lot more relaxed. Yeah, yeah.
and that's generally because the roles are different. You
Yes.
yeah, you don't
Yeah.
have to do the same sort of stuff with weapons
No,
and
no.
NBC and stuff like that. Although you do have
Yeah.
drills, but it's not exactly the same as being
No.
stuck in a field because you're in a big, nice, comfortable uh,
Yeah.
area where everything's pretty okay, really.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, you know what they say, what is it? The army sleep under the stars, the navy navigate them, and the RAF rate their hotels by them.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. And
Sorry to the RAF.
no, it never changes. I remember when I was on my bomb disposal officers course, and we had some RAF uh, blokes with us, and when they turned up, they were sleeping in army barracks, and the shock on their face
Yeah,
when they walked in,
yeah,
and then they went to we went to the mess, and they thought we're not getting steaks cooked for us like we normally do, and all.
yeah, yeah.
We were like, hmm?
God, blimey, yeah, yeah,
What are you
yeah,
talking about?
yeah.
So, so what was your so training 6 to 8 weeks, and
Yeah.
then what happened after being at HMS Raleigh?
Yeah, then Navy medic training was about 18 months to 16 or 18 months long. You went to, when we had naval hospitals, you went to the Haslar Hospital just outside of Gosport.
Yeah, I know
Um,
it. Yeah,
yeah, you did a 10-week basic first aid course, I think. And then you went off to either Haslar Hospital or RNH Stonehouse in Plymouth, which I went to. You went there for 36 weeks and did various stints on different wards and surgeries, etc. Yeah, it's quite a good intense course, yeah.
and that's where your training comes in. You see, because even though you might not have done much basic training, then your specialist training was a lot more. And I remember Gosport well because I did my divers aptitude course there.
Oh yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, yeah, interesting place. Well, it is when you're doing a divers aptitude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So dragging tires round behind you for 3 miles and then changing over to carrying a log. Oh, lovely. So yeah, that's pretty good. So at the end of that training, what are you then qualified to do?
You're basically a medic, a qualified medic. You do have to serve a probation period after you come out of the training, and then you either go submarines, uh, a shore-based naval base, ship, or you can try for commando training.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what did you opt for?
Well, initially I spent 15 minutes on a submarine and that made my mind up. They're horrendous. Yeah, horrendous things. Well, they call them boats, don't they?
I call it a tin can under the water.
Yes.
No disrespect to you submariners,
No.
and I have had a few on the podcast, and I do say quite openly, they're a bunch of nutters. I
Yeah,
mean,
completely.
yeah, I mean, why you'd want to spend months at a time underwater in something that you can't swing a dead cat round in,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and then they come up blinded by the light, spend a
yeah,
few weeks on shore leave, and then they're gone
yeah,
again.
yeah,
So you saw the light before you
yeah,
lost the light, then, really, didn't you?
yeah. And I was playing football as well, for the hospital at the time, and all the medics, or the majority of the medics, that played in the team were commando trained medics.
Right.
And so they'd come in their uniform, in the green jumpers, green lids, green berries. Some of them had the wings, and I just thought that's cool. That is, I like the look of that. And everyone held them in quite high regard,
Yeah.
and they were really, real characters as well, and pretty tough as well for medics. Yeah, so I
Amazing.
thought,
Hey, I tell you
yeah,
what, though, joking aside, when the stuff hits the fan, medics are pretty tough.
yeah, yeah,
Definitely joking aside, because
yeah.
I think I had to pick it up on that one. I know the medic's role, and it's interesting, especially when the stuff hits the fan.
Yeah, yeah. I suppose you talk yourself down a bit, don't you? You don't
Yeah,
want to.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And my job is to talk you up as well when I think that's it. Uh,
yeah, yeah,
so,
yeah. Fair enough.
so
Yeah,
you thought the commandos were pretty cool then. So,
yeah,
and that got you thinking about what?
yeah. So, and then at that time, I then went to. So I finished my training, and then went to Stonehouse Barracks, which is in Stonehouse in Plymouth, and that's where HQ3 Commando Brigade are, and the Mountain Arctic Warfare Cadre, the mountain leaders are based, and a few other Royal Marine small detachments. And obviously you get to mix with them, and you ask them about, commando training, how tough, etc. And yeah, took it from there. And you get a few people that say, I don't think you're tough enough, Guy. Oh, right, okay then. Well, we'll see about that.
That's
So
like
that lit the
a red rag
fire.
to a bull, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And then there's about 4 or 5 of us medics that were interested. They sent us to do the PRMC, the potential recruits course. It's like a 3-day acquaint for potential Royal Marine recruits.
Yeah.
And I loved it. Loved it. We did part of the endurance course where you go under the sheep dip.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it was fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and I just like the whole buzz of the place. That you see lads that are joined in, and it's shock and capture. Because it's such a big change from mum and dad, and
Yeah.
then you see them go through, and they're wearing the cat comforters, which notes you're on commando phase. And
Yeah.
I just thought that looked just so cool, and they have to run everywhere
Yeah,
when you've
that's
got
right.
comforters. Yeah. So that carried on lighting the fire, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to go for this. Yeah, definitely.
And how old were you then?
I'd done 2 years in the Navy, so I'd have been 19 when I went back to Livingston.
Right, okay. And how did that go at Livingston?
It was good. They did it a bit differently. So some of the medics went on the all arms course, and for some mad reason, they sent about a few more of us to join a nod troop, a recruit troop.
All right.
Yeah, which apparently they used to do that in the 60s, with the Navy medics. So we spent 6 months with a recruit troop and passed out with them. As you can imagine, there were two of us, two Matlows in a recruit trip, we stood out a bit.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
interesting because, like, we're engineers. We go down to Limston, but we do beat up and then go down to Limston, and the whole
yeah,
course is 6 weeks. So instead of doing a shortened version, you
yeah.
actually went through the full recruit phase.
Well, not quite. It was
Not,
six
or
months.
actually, because
Yeah,
it's 6 months instead of 12. Yeah,
yeah,
but it was definitely a prolonged course, wasn't it?
yeah, yeah. It was. Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, the first month, Paul and I, who I did the course with, we were really good runners. So it was just about, okay, as long as you, whatever challenge there is, as long as you're in the top 10, they'll leave you alone. And that's how we did it. We just got our heads down and made sure we were within the top 10 of any race or challenge, and we were kind of left alone after that.
Oh, that was good. So
Yeah.
then you you got you got your beret.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was the ceremony like on that?
It was really nice. I mean, they included us with the recruit troop. So in fact, I see my son, he's also a former Royal Marine.
Right.
So he got his green lid. So it's still the same now. You get it in the lecture room. Oh, you get it after the 30 miler, but you get it formally presented to you in the lecture room by officer commanding of the training. And I got it there, me and Paul in our silly sailor outfits next to the now Royal Marine Commandos. So we were two Navy Commandos then. Yeah. So I think people wondered, why are they there?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because you would have stuck out like a sore thumb, wouldn't you?
Oh, we did. Yeah. Yeah.
In your blues and
Yeah.
the white and everything. What happened?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
let them in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, at the end of the day, commando training. It doesn't matter what uniform you've got. It's going to weed out the weak ones.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Yeah.
So what happened then? How were you treated when you went back to your unit?
Uh, Yeah, it was fine. Well, we were asked just before we were passed out of Limston, we were both asked what unit you would like to join. And obviously, I wanted to join a commando unit. I was thinking 40, Sunshine Boys, they go to nice hot places.
Yeah.
Or 4-2, which is Plymouth, just outside of Plymouth at Bickley, and 4-5 was my third choice. And also because funnily enough, I don't like heights. So I didn't want to go anywhere where a unit was going to go, I don't know, high up for any reason. So I thought I'll probably end up 4-2. That'd be great. So whoever it was in naval headquarters, decided it'd be hilarious to send me to where the mountain leaders train, the Mount Arctic Warfare
You,
Carter.
you know what? That that just reads like a book because I knew that's what you were going to say.
Really?
Someone must have been having a right chuckle
Oh,
in
God,
Navy
yeah.
records saying, "Oh, this he's quite averse to heights. Let's send him
Yeah,
Arctic mountains."
yeah, brilliant. Yeah. So then I had a week's leave and I got a train ticket to Wales, North Wales, and I was picked up at the station by one of the bootneck drivers from the Carder, and I joined the unit where they were carrying out the ML2 course in Wales, the Welsh phase, mountain
Yeah.
phase. Yeah, so I just sat at the bottom of a mountain for the month of October, waiting for someone to fall off.
And no one did, fortunately.
Fortunately not. No, no, no.
Right, but I would like that if they had have done, it would have been a tragedy anyway.
Yeah,
It would have been pretty bad for you having to go up somewhere high when you didn't like heights.
yeah, yeah.
And you were a gym queen as well, were you?
No, no, the PTI thing I did in the fire service when I
Oh
joined
yeah,
on.
that's right. Yeah, yeah, of
Yeah,
course you did. Yeah, which
yeah,
we're going to come on to shortly.
yeah,
Um, But you were getting well geared up to be able to do that, weren't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So at what point did you think, I've had enough of the Navy?
Yeah, I thought because I'd been so I was 2 years, basically more or less 2 years in training. And then I thought, oh great, I'll get a commando unit. I went with the card of the mountain leaders. Um, and yeah, I mean, I went to Iraq with them, which was interesting. Before that, I got attached to the army actually during the Gulf War, which was good. Um, and I could see no further. Oh, what else is there to do? So I always wanted to join the fire service from a young age, and you've got the same type of mindset, the same type of people. You know, you got the teamwork ethic. So I thought, yeah, it'll suit me nice. Yeah, bit of excitement.
Very good. So you just going back to Iraq, what happened in there?
Oh, Iraq.
Yeah.
Well, in fact, I was on leave. Just come back off. I was on leave from the first Gulf War, and they had a phone call, and it was a sergeant major rang me up, says, "Guy, you need to get down to Plymouth tonight." Oh, right, okay. What's happening? He says, "We're going out to Iraq," and it was basically they were doing reconnaissance before the commando units came out to northern Iraq because it was about protecting the Kurds from the Iraqi army. Basically, they were slaughtering them,
Right.
and we were going out as a reconnaissance force to find out what's happening, etc., before commando units land.
So that was a pretty testing time then, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was good. Yeah, I mean, our job, not only we were doing that, we were meeting up with the Peshmerga, which was like the Kurdish armed group that used to fight either the Turkish army or the Iraqi army. And we were just meeting them to gather intelligence. And then whilst doing that, me and there was a couple of medics from Poole, we were treating their injured whilst the MLs, the mountain leaders, were getting intelligence from the Peshmerga.
So what challenges did you face during that time that were testing for you?
I think for me, I was frustrated with that we couldn't stop the Iraqis as much as we wanted to for killing the Kurdish population in northern Iraq. I'd like to have been more of an active role in stopping them.
Yeah, and that's always a tough call, isn't it? From
Yeah,
between being able to be totally effective and feeling a little bit lost that you couldn't do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
So at what point did you think about leaving? I've had enough now.
Yeah,
I want to move on.
probably when I came back from Iraq, because all I could see was continual being away from home if I was staying attached to the Carter, because it was basically like the autumn you're in Wales, Scotland, then after Christmas you're in Norway for 3 months, and then you were I mean, it was great, and then you're in the Alps ice climbing, which was terrifying.
I mean, I'd actually like that, but if you're not too cool on heights, yeah,
Yeah,
that wouldn't be that great.
yeah. I mean, I didn't tell anybody because they would have just
Yeah, well, everybody just
got me
ripped into
higher.
you, wouldn't they?
Yeah. I mean, I did my jumps course as well, and that's terrifying as well, isn't it?
Yeah, just standing on the edge and thinking, oh.
God, that balloon jump is horrific. You just drop stone, yeah.
So, because it was Iraq one that you were in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 91.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
91, yeah.
Because I remember that wasn't long after I came out of the regs, and I was wondering whether they were going to call me back in. But it was the medics that got called back in for that, though. You know, the ones who'd left.
Yeah.
They called an awful
Oh,
lot of
right, yeah.
medics. Sorry?
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was 91, yeah. And then not 93, I left the Navy.
And you went to where?
I was a pool attendant for a year before I joined the fire service because then it's quite hard, well, it probably still is, to get into the fire service. So I applied all around the country to get anywhere. And eventually I got to the interview stage for Derbyshire, which is about an hour away. So I was happy to do that.
And what was the transition like? I mean, because I know we just skimmed over that where you're, oh, just a year I was a pool attendant. How did that make you feel? Or going from a highly trained medic and you're a commando trained, right?
Yeah.
You've been doing mountain training, you've been up in the Alps, you've been to Norway, right? Freezing you, what do you call it
Oh
off.
God, yeah.
And
Yeah.
then you come back and then you're sitting at the side of a pool for a year. I mean,
Yeah.
what's going on in your head?
Yeah, demoralizing.
Yeah. And in what way? Because one of the things that I want to concentrate on during this is, we'll have a laugh, right? Because
Yeah.
that's what we always do as ex-military and in military. It's also though to show to the guys, men and women, who are either getting out or have got out, and we're reflecting on stuff. And like we've been around the block a few times. I was in slightly before you, but we're around about the same era,
Yeah.
right? And because of our experience in years, wisdom and skills and knowledge, we'll just glance over stuff. Whereas when you're in it for a year, it's pretty.
Yeah.
So when you were getting up in the morning, were you jumping out of bed saying, "Wow, we're going to the pool"? Or what
No.
were you thinking? What was the transition like?
Yeah, it was I found it really hard that year. Because like you say, when you're in the armed forces, you're told you're this, that, you're really great and you're doing some exciting stuff, and then you find yourself sitting on a chair at 6:30 in the morning looking at elderly ladies swimming up and down, up and down. Yeah, yeah. But you just have to look forward and to see how you can improve that situation. And for me, what helped was playing rugby.
Yeah,
Um, that was a real release. That was, yeah. So you need a release when you are leaving the armed forces to relieve that feeling of, oh God, I'm not worth anything, which is
yeah,
daft, really. You are.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So going in to be a firefighter or a fire bobby, uh, I mean that's like an extended army family, isn't it? Or
Yes.
Navy or Air Force.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of ex-forces in there of all kinds of different berries, badges, etc. So, there's a lot of common ground.
Mm,
Yeah, with the men and women, and also even the ones that haven't served, that similar thinking still.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
you got to have like that. Some people may say twisted or warped sense of humor. I just, and I guess you do as well. Just class it as uh, a sort of unusual sense of humor,
yeah,
because we have to be able to look at situations that can be quite
yeah,
terrifying to normal everyday
yeah,
life, and just
yeah,
look, right, so how are we going to deal with this? So
yeah,
that makes sense, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah. It does. Yeah,
And so you're in the fire service now. What was the basic training like? Because that's pretty interesting, isn't it?
yeah. It's good actually. I mean, there was another lad who was, well, there's actually two. One army regiment, which I can't remember. He was a nice lad, and there was another, in fact, 5'9" commando. He was,
Engineers.
yeah, he's, and we're still in touch now. So we found the physical quite easy, but the technical side, there is a lot more than people think. Yeah, that was quite challenging.
Yeah, especially for someone who's been in the Navy. I mean, anything that's technical.
Certainly for me, yeah, definitely, yeah, yeah.
And uh, joking aside, again, I mean, you did your stint in Derbyshire Fire Service, and then you also, at that point, you did become a gym queen, didn't you, as we call it?
Yeah, it was only a short course. I mean, it was nothing like the course I believe you were on, but it was really good. It gave me structure to do physical training, not only for myself but for the watch as well.
Yeah, yeah, because you're in charge to make sure that the guys stay in condition because you know
Yeah,
climbing up ladders, up and down ladders, and
yeah,
pulling out those hoses. That's
yeah,
pretty demanding, isn't it?
yeah. Everything's heavy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be robust and
Yeah, that's it.
it's got
Yeah,
to be hard wearing.
yeah.
So, right, I can. So quickly, you start moving up the career path, really, don't you?
Well, I don't know really, because I mean, I spent 4.5 years in Derbyshire, and then joined Leicester or transferred to Leicestershire, and it was about I had 3 years on secondment in between as well to CERN. That's where they've got the particle accelerator, the Large Hadron Collider.
Wow, what was
Yeah,
that
that
like?
yeah, it was good. I mean, firefighting wise, it was very quiet, but working with, on our team, there was myself, an Englishman, there was a German, a Finnish, a lad from Finland, there's Italian, Spanish, and French. So training was quite interesting.
That's
It-
what was the full title of it again?
CERN, it's Central European Research, but that's the French name. So so basically a Central European Research in physics. So it's a massive physics laboratory, I'd guess. It's just outside of Geneva, split over France and Switzerland. So you cross the border. And it's like a small town. It's a massive place where people go to learn physics and create physics and experiments that no one's ever done before. But in conjunction with that, because obviously they need support staff, and the fire service is one of them. But the kind of civil engineering they do there has never been done before. So the particle accelerator there at CERN it's 27 kilometers in circumference and it's 100 meters underground. And every so often there is a break in the ring where they do carry out experiments. So when they were building this thing, and they're still building new stuff now, is they move underground rivers.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean it's massive stuff. I mean, I used to take people down there all the time, and it's like a James Bond set. It's just yeah, it's fantastic place.
And flipping out, how interesting is that? What was your most memorable occasion while you were there? And I suppose there'd be a few actually, but what was the best one?
Well, that's a good question. Socially, probably I worked the first Christmas there. I worked Christmas Day, and we just drank and ate all day. But it was great. I just loved working with all those different nationalities.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's brilliant. I played rugby there as well. They had a rugby team there. And funnily enough, our coach was also really nice bloke, John Etheridge, who played for Ireland.
right.
Um, yeah, so he was also the Swiss national coach. So a few of us managed to play for Swiss A and Swiss B, which I mean Switzerland aren't the biggest rugby nation in the world, but that was quite a good experience. And then I remember he was sending emails out about I'm not going to be here next week. I've got a Swiss national team exhibition match in France, which was just over the border. And I jokingly said, "Oh, John, if you need a back row, then I'll turn up if you're a bit short." It's the Swiss national team. He's not going to be short. I got an email back says, "Okay, this is the time we're starting. Be here 2 hours before."
How did you manage to play for the Swiss? Did you put lederhosen on or something?
Honestly, it was surreal. It was an exhibition match that was celebrating this French team's 50th anniversary. And they had games all through the day. And then the last game of the day was the Swiss national team playing an invitational team of French professionals.
Wow.
Yeah, so the standard was really quite high, and it was way, way above my standard. And I remember we stood in front of the like stadium where the crowd were, and they introduced each player, each Swiss player, and they introduced me, and I had to wave to the crowd. Yeah,
How cool is that?
yeah, and I thought no one is ever going to believe this.
I mean, maybe if you'd have played for an Italian team, which is something we've not covered yet, you might have got away with it. I mean,
Yeah,
it's things
but I
like
mean,
this.
I got battered. I got battered. Yeah.
What position were you playing?
I was open side number 7 then, which is basically you
Right.
run around a lot looking busy.
That's right. I remember when we went to Canada on tour, on a construction tour in the engineers, and we wanted to play rugby because we were the Army Minor Units champions.
Yeah, blimey.
And we got invited to play sevens in the Labatt's tournament, and they just thought, oh, let's just invite the English along for a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
They were so happy a few days later when we won the tournament.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
fantastic.
And that was brilliant. And one of the times, actually, because what reminded me, one of the Canadian teams was short of players, so they said, "Have you got a spare player?" And he said, "There you go, O'Connor, you have a crack at it." So I went on, and because I didn't think I was playing, I'd been out on the lash the night before, so I wasn't in good condition really. And I remember getting the ball, I sidestepped 2 players, and I was pegging it down the pitch, and I just ran out of steam. And they managed to catch me when I was about 5 yards away from the try line,
Oh,
and I just
no.
got leathered.
Yeah.
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 But
Blimey.
fortunately, we did score because I was getting support, and I just popped it out to him. But yeah, I couldn't run anymore. So, wow, that's absolutely brilliant. Not many people can say that they've been near the particle accelerator. That's phenomenal, that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I suppose a pool attendant doesn't really rate much then, does it? Nothing against pool attendants, by the way.
No, I suppose it's a bit more sedentary, isn't it? It's less action packed.
So then you were brought back down to earth, not necessarily by the particle accelerator or the underground rivers being diverted, but you went to your next job then, didn't you? Whereabouts was that?
Yeah, Leicestershire. So I went back to Leicestershire, Central Station, and I was there for a couple of years, and that's when I decided that I was going to go for promotion. So I'd been a firefighter for 12 years in total. And I decided, yeah, it's about time that I'll have a crack at it.
And what was the experience like? And out of interest, because obviously this is about veterans to success. How did start again, Joe? How useful was your military career in your experience of being able to join the fire service, then be able to fit in with different nationalities at CERN, and then come back to Leicester, and then thinking, right, how would the military experience geared you up for that?
Oh, it helped me a hell of a lot. You know, the teamwork ethic, being able to work with different team members that have got all different skill sets. That's what I was used to when I was in the Navy. And your standards as well. Being on time. Well, obviously, if you're on time, you're late. So you're 5 minutes before that. You know, your standards you like to hold yourself to that's what's drilled into you when you're in the forces. Whatever armed forces you're in, there's certain standards you hold yourself to. Yeah.
And something I want to just drop back to your surname, right?
Oh, DeSalvo, yeah.
Di Salvo. Yeah. What's the history behind that?
No, my dad is from Sicily. He was born in Sicily, so he's a full-blooded Sicilian.
Ah, right. So mafia links then.
Yeah, well, allegedly. I mean, they all think they are.
Were
Apparently,
were you ever called mafioso?
well, my dad said that his dad, so my Sicilian granddad, his brother Gaetano, which I'm named after, he was known as Uncle Gaetano. So apparently he was a consigliere, which is like the counsel or the lawyer for the Godfather in America, and apparently he was dispatched in the 30s or 40s. I'm not sure when. So I was named after him.
Wow. So there you go. There's a bit of history. So I better
Yeah.
be careful what I say to you then, haven't I? I could end up pushing up the roses.
Yeah.
So you're going for promotion now. Oh, one last thing as well.
Yeah.
Because how did you get on with back in CERN? Because you've got Germans and Italians and Swiss, French. And how did your sense of humor get on with them? Because you weren't the only Brit there, were you?
No, there were other British firefighters there, but they were on the other teams.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I was the only Brit on our team, the green team. Yeah, the Brits tend to get on with the Germans really well. Similar sense of humor. They're a little bit drier, um, but I suppose because my father's Sicilian, so I've got the Latin understanding as well. So I got on with everyone really. It was
Oh, that's good.
yeah, yeah,
So you're back in Leicester,
yeah,
which is a little bit different than CERN,
yeah.
and you decide you're going for promotion. How did that pan out?
It's good. Yeah, so I went with promotion, so it's from firefighter to crew manager. And then as a crew manager, you can be in charge of an incident of up to 4 appliances, which can be up to 20 firefighters or 20 personnel on the incident ground. Yeah, I loved it. I loved it.
And I know you spent quite a while with them from 1998 to 2023,
Yeah.
which was a massive 25, just over 25 years, 25 and a
Yeah.
half years. What was, I know it's difficult in a podcast to put all that together. What was your most memorable occasions during that time? Because I guess, what was your most satisfying event
Ah,
that you recall?
oh, blimey.
Or a couple of them if you want.
Yeah, that's a good question, that is. I suppose memorable incidents are cutting objects off people's body which really shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah.
let your imagination run wild with that one.
And by the way, I know we can chuckle about it now.
Yeah.
In the heat of the moment, how does that affect you?
Your training takes over. So I was a big believer in training, and we tried to make it where we tried to make it as realistic as possible. We'd add pressure onto whoever's being trained. We'd train a lot with blindfolds, so we'd put equipment together blindfolded, or we'd work under wearing breathing apparatus. It'd be really physical, but then still expected to make decisions doing whatever you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So yeah, your training took over.
That's the SCBA, isn't it? The self-contained breathing apparatus.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
I've been in them. They're certainly interesting. Having to work under pressure in that.
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, diving, that's a different world. That's blimey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, that is
Well,
tough.
and also when I was doing training for EOD, going into places, because we often went in your firefighters' places because that was where it was set up for us.
Yeah.
and then we'd have to find the unexploded ordnance and deal with it.
Blimey.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pressure.
yeah. So, yeah, I'm with you on cutting pieces off people where it's not supposed to be, and you would have had all sorts there. And it's interesting how the military training kicks in, because I remember when I was in basic training and we did the first aid, that was my first shock when we're doing the first aid training and all we hear is screaming from inside the ablutions, and we had to run in and deal with whatever, and you had to prioritize. And
Yeah.
one of the things that you got failed on was not spotting the unconscious casualty in the toilet,
Yeah.
locked in,
Yeah.
because
Blimey.
the guy with burns or someone who cut themselves, they're alive, they're screaming. The guy
Yeah.
who's in the toilet,
Yeah.
unconscious, you don't get him. So it was really interesting on how to command your team and say, right, make sure you check everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So what else? What else did you discover? What was your other most memorable occasion, do you think?
Yeah.
Whether it be a promotion, seeing someone else promoted, someone you coached or mentored, because we're going to come on to that, someone you coached or mentored who maybe wasn't that great at first and then turned into a really good firefighter.
Yeah, there's quite a few that I was involved with. So the training sometimes not only run just by one crew manager, it could be two or three of you. So I was fortunate to work with some really good crew managers where we developed firefighters from being quite poor to being really good, and making them aware of the standards they need to be as well. You know, when you're going out to an incident, yeah, for us, it's sadly it's playtime. You know, we join to go to fires and cut people out of cars, etc. But for the people we're going to help, it's their worst day. It's their worst day they'll ever have. So we need to be the best. We can't be anything but the best at what we do.
No. And yeah, I think that's really a really important point, actually. That being the best you can be all the time, even when the stuff hits the fan,
Yeah.
because the people you're serving, ironically, you're the best you can be when they're probably the worst that they can
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And it's being able to bring those two together
Yeah.
for the best outcome, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, failure, and I'm big on this particular word, because people use it often as though it's the end. You haven't failed, in my opinion, unless you give up, right? So how do you deal with failure? Because you've not got it right all the time, and we haven't got enough time to go through all of it. But I would like you to touch on how you deal with failure. What's your secret ingredient?
Yeah. Yeah. First, you've got to accept it that it's not going so well. So there's instances that I've been to that yes, that person was going to die anyway, but we didn't perform as well as we should. So you go back feeling pretty bad and disappointed with your performance. So, you know, that's a failure, but where you can improve from that and where you can gain from that, because I only learn off failure. I can't learn off success. You know, you can blow smoke up and tell me how great I am. I'm not going to learn from that. But what I will learn, what I've done wrong and how I can change that. And there's incidents where we've gone back and we've changed things on the back of not being as good as we thought we should have been. But by changing the way we do things, we don't get that failure anymore.
Yeah.
We've learned from it.
And it might only have been just one little change in the steps, the process that makes all the difference. Yeah. And I think that's a biggie for me, that actually.
Yeah.
Really important that, you know, sometimes people get swamped with the fact that, oh, I've failed on this occasion, so that means none of it works. And actually, that's not the case, is it? It
No.
just means that one part of a whole process may not have worked as good as it could.
Yeah, exactly.
And at the end of the day, you recording that, accepting it, and making changes meant that you saved a lot more people's lives in the future, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, hopefully. I mean, it was a simple thing was so if you go to an incident, so there's four of you, you've got the officer in charge making the decisions, two in the back doing the work, and then the driver will be sending radio messages, dealing with water supplies, etc. But we turned up to an incident where he stayed in on the appliance dealing with radio messages. But after a particular bad incident that was my worst one I've ever been to, not it wasn't a messy, but the outcome wasn't as good as it should have been.
Yeah.
After that incident, we said, right, the priority is dealing with a casualty. The radio messages can wait. Just, I mean, it's so obvious,
Yeah, yeah.
but that's the way the fire service trained us. But we changed just a little tweak, like you say, just hold fire on the radio messages. That's fine. That can wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, preserving life's more important than sending comms, isn't it?
Without a doubt. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah.
on the flip side then, what's the secret of your success? And before you think to yourself, I'm not successful, right? Let's just rewind. So I wanna tell you where we've gone so
Yeah.
far, or where we've been, or where you've been. Right, you went to join the military at the age of 16. You were told you weren't good enough, effectively. So you went and got a job as Sparky for a year and realized that if you didn't stop, you were going to kill someone or yourself and send electricity where it wasn't supposed to be going.
Yeah.
At the age of 17, you went in with your mate, joined up as a medic in the Navy. Then you went to Iraq 1, did a bit there and were saving lives. Then you went to the Commandos. You got your green beret. You got the green cap, if you like. And then you left, joined the fire brigade, became a PTI, went to CERN, where the particle accelerator is, mixed with multinationals. Oh, and by the way, I missed out the fact that you'd been to Norway and you'd done Arctic training, and you were told that you had to do stuff that you were terrified of because you didn't like heights. Then now you've gone to CERN, you come back, you're in Leicester Fire Brigade, you've gone up the ranks, you're in charge of men, you've failed a few times, and because of the failure, you've developed even better ways to rescue people and save lives. So and that's about right, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So what's the secret of your success?
I suppose, sorry.
Yeah, what is it that makes you successful even when the stuff hits the fan?
Lived experience, I think, where I've learned from my failures and moving on and using that as a positive, where I've improved from that, and been tested.
Yeah.
You know, I can deliver a talk to people and say, you know, the majority of you sitting in this room have probably not been tested, but I have. So I've got lived experience where I can tell you what it is like to be a leader and a decision maker. And sometimes it goes wrong, sometimes it goes right, and how to be better at that post or position.
Thank you. I think that's succinctly put it together, actually, based on what I know about you and what we've talked about this morning. Now I know. Well, let me ask you this first. So, which I usually do at the end, but I think it's a good point in our chat to ask it. What does the future hold for you now? Because you've only recently left the fire brigade, haven't you? And I'm going to give the opportunity to chat more about your business and how people can get in touch with you. What made you want to get out of the fire service and then start a new venture, your next mission, I suppose?
I think I'd done what I wanted to do in the fire service. I'd done my time, but I wanted to use what I'd learnt um, as a leader and a decision maker. I didn't want that to just be not used again. So I wanted to pass on some of my experience and some of the things that I can help people with to be a better decision maker and a leader, whatever size team they're part of.
Good. Thank you. And with that now, you're getting to a point where you're realizing the importance of social and business networking, aren't you?
Yeah.
What do you think's the most important thing to you about business networking?
For me, face to face, that works the best. It's not always the easiest because people aren't all living in the same area, but yeah, face to face and just being, whether you want to call it authentic or just being truthful. If people are asking you stuff and you can't do it, then you just say, no, that's not my kind of thing. I can't help you with that, but I can help you with this.
Yeah, thank you. And we've already touched on it. And during your time as a child, in the military, as a firefighter, you would have had a few coaches or mentors or both.
Yeah.
How important do you think they are to you?
Yeah, really important. So I always in the fire service, most definitely is when I was thinking about promotion years before I started it. I was looking at who was good at the job, and I used to, learn off them. I like what they do there. That's what I'd like to be like, and having a good mentor is key, without a doubt.
Mm,
Yeah.
thank you. And we've touched on it quite a few times during our chat in different ways. How valuable do you think the skills are that you learn in the military to Civvy Street generally?
Massive. Yeah. And this is what people have got to remind themselves, when they're leaving the military, you've got so many skills that you can use in all different types of places and positions and jobs that you probably don't even realize you've got until people start pulling them out of you. Yeah, the military prepares you for a lot of stuff, and you can tell, can't you, when someone's been in the armed forces?
Yeah.
You can really tell. Yeah.
It's interesting that because I know I went I went to a meeting the other day and shoes highly polished in a suit. And as soon as I walked in, they just said, "Are you ex-military?" And I thought, "Oh, I am actually, yeah."
Yeah.
But but yeah, it always shines through just in the way
Yeah.
you present yourself, i.e. visually, and also the way you present yourself in just the things you do and the way you do it and what you
Yeah.
say as well, and how direct in a good way we can be, and
Yeah.
not pussyfoot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So some our listener might be thinking, right, okay, so give me a top tip, about if they might be in a good place, might be just about to leave the military, or they've already left the military, maybe not firing on all cylinders yet, or they're doing really successful in life generally. What's the one tip that you would give them?
Surround yourself with good people
Yeah.
that are positive.
And that goes back to the thing that I've heard regularly, and I tell the people I work with now, your attitude will be that of the 5 people that you're closest to you, and you will earn the same as the 5 people closest to you.
Yeah.
And the other one is, which is why we touched on mentors and coaches. It's all right to be in the room when you're the cleverest person in the room occasionally, but it's always better not to be the cleverest person in the room.
Definitely.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, without a doubt, because you want to learn off the other people, don't you?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then we're coming to an end of this session now, and thank you very much for your time. What does the future hold for you now with your latest venture, which is the Hyde Group Limited?
Yeah.
So what's all that about, and what is your mission with that company?
Well, the reason we call it the Hyde Group. So Hyde stands for, it's the Commando values of humility, integrity, discipline, and excellence. So, and it's a group of people, and so the group, to be part of this group and to be able to deliver leadership and decision making in any way or wherever it's delivered, they have to be either former armed forces, airborne, former airborne, commando trained, and or former fire service incident commanders, people that have been in charge of, fast moving incidents.
So just go through the Hyde, the Commando values again.
Yeah. So it's Commando values that were ingrained in you at Lympston of humility, integrity, discipline, and excellence. So it's the standards that you try and hold yourself to, and sometimes you fail.
Yeah, but hey, that's life, isn't it?
Yeah.
And,
so that's the idea.
And how can people get in touch with you, Guy?
Well, currently we haven't got a website, but that's in progress. So LinkedIn is my main contact, but also I contact other people just for a chat, really. But yeah, LinkedIn, and my email contact email address is on there as well.
That's great.
And then, yeah,
and that's how we connected, isn't it? Through LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, Guy, thank you for your service in the military. Thank you for your service in the fire brigade as a fire bobby and saving the countless lives that you did. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thanks, Joe. Thanks for your time today.
JoeTeams.com is a resource I have created to fulfill my mission to help 1 million veterans and business entrepreneurs like you achieve the goals, dreams, and aspirations they deserve. JoeTeams.com is jam-packed full of valuable resources specifically designed to help you on your journey to success. Visit JoeTeams.com now to find out how you can join and start your journey to success immediately. That's JoeTeams.com, JoeTeams, JoeTeams.com. And until we meet again, have a brilliant day.